Hey, it's Suze, and welcome to tonight's episode of Keep the Bad Guys Away. Hey, I'm still working on this missing kid situation, which is an ongoing disaster. But, I want to tell you a little bit of history behind this, something really, really big. Besides the child support case, and, we know that the family courts are all corrupt, and they were all working in a co-conspiracy with the FBI and all that. Okay, but here's one big thing that could have saved these kids back in 2005. Okay, so back in 2005, I had Senior Special Agent Peter Lazaro sitting on one side of my dining table. And then I had Detective James Bozaic with Las Vegas Metro Police, DHS Detective Joint Terrorism Task Force sitting on the other side. And, we're like, I'm asking them just as many questions as they're asking me, because I'm thinking, what the hell, dude? I dated this guy for years. Next thing you know, you got Homeland Security sitting at your dining table. I mean, it's a little weird. Not everybody in America experiences that. So, but now, something came up and something about Texas came up. I can't remember the exact logistics of it, but I said to Detective Bozaic, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, the Humboldt County, California Sheriff's Office ran him for a warrant, detective, and they said no warrants found. And then Detective Bozaic was like, well, he did have a warrant out in Texas. It was just under a different name. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking to myself, just under a different name. I see. So he's not Paymont Fabi, so he's not Ruzbe Kameh, so he's got a warrant out in Texas under a different name. I'm like, okay, so the guy I date for years, who's my son's daddy, different name. All right, now, so, and like I'm sitting there literally like, and Detective James was like, I'm like, well, he's like, well, he's supposed to go back to Texas. I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, he's supposed to go back to Texas and then come back here. Meaning come back to Las Vegas. And then I'm like, well, and then he's like, well, Texas didn't want him back. I'm like, Texas didn't want him back. Okay, Texas didn't want him back. And he said something about not wanting to pay for an extradition. I'm like, not wanting to pay for an extradition, and so like okay. He's supposed to go back to Texas and then come back here, but then Texas didn't want to pay for an extradition. I mean, let me tell you, I had a field day after that interview, because, what happened is that, he got let go from the North Las Vegas Detention Center. Now, see, when they were sitting at my dining table, he was in the North Las Vegas Detention Center without bail. How do I know that? Because I called. When Senior Special Agent Peter Lazaro told me he arrested him, and he was in the North Las Vegas Detention Center, well, I had to call out there myself. I was like, really? And they told me, they said, yeah, no bail. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so then when he gets let go, this is months later, he gets let go and he shows up, for family court going after my son. I mean, it was all kinds of hell. And, so, I just kept thinking to myself, for months, I was like, how the hell am I going to pay for his extradition? Texas didn't want him back, and something about not wanting to pay for an extradition. Well, now I'm paying for this. I mean, it's bad enough that they let this guy out, anyway, for him to wind up in Nevada, and then Texas doesn't want him back? I mean, it's unreal. There's a habeas petition now in Las Vegas, the District of Las Vegas. Now, don't look at it as being a habeas petition. Look at the information that's in the habeas petition. The case is Paymont Safavi versus DHS, and it was back in 2005. I didn't have a copy of that. It was actually, initially, it was actually a news, I didn't even know the case was going on. I had went to the Las Vegas Sun, because everybody said for years I need the media. So I went to Las Vegas Sun, and I, ended up talking to a reporter, and he was able to actually get this habeas petition, Paymont Safavi versus DHS. So I got a response to a writ of habeas corpus. So there's a lot of information in that. And so it is referenced in there, his Texas criminal conviction. He spent 3 years of a 10-year sentence. It didn't go in to say, well, Texas didn't want him back and they want to pay for an extradition, but it does say he served 3 years of a 10-year sentence. I don't know why the U.S. attorney didn't want to just say that, but he didn't. But I did. I had a field day with that whole thing, because I was thinking to myself, oh my God, now I have to pay for this crap for the rest of my life, or for however long I have to deal with this asshole going after my son in the family court, which is basically just a scam because he wants to hightail him out of the country. I deal with all this family law bullshit, all because Texas didn't want him back. I mean, Texas didn't want, that Texas didn't want him back conspiracy has cost me a fortune. And now I've got missing kids. I mean, he might not have pulled a lot of the crap that he's pulled, or he might have been fully convicted for all the garbage that he's pulled, had we not had this Texas didn't want him back conspiracy. But so that's still to this day. To this day, he is at large. I can't figure out why the heck nobody can throw him back into prison. I mean, I don't know. When I got all these letters, I circled them around and stuff, and apparently Houston PD wanted him back. They called me, asked me where he is, said they had a connection into ICE, but, and then another Houston police officer told me that they had to use the marshals, and then another Houston police officer, I guess someone was under the impression that they were going to prosecute him. And I'm still thinking, what the heck? They asked me, they're like, did they decline to prosecute? I'm like, what does decline to prosecute mean? And I haven't heard that term before. I said, well, I don't know about decline to prosecute, but they just let him walk. So however you want to interpret that. So, but anyway, I don't know why. Maybe that's the motive as to why Texas didn't want him back. Maybe they thought they were going to fully prosecute him. But well, anyway, he's still running out on the streets. But had they shipped his ass back to Texas back in 2005, I still have my son. I guarantee you I still have my son. So today, I have to sit here and I have to fight with a bunch of damn garbage based on this frickin' damn Texas didn't want him back conspiracy, which is out of the 176th District Court of Harris County, Texas. So I want you to read this habeas petition, Payman Safavi versus DHS. I'll put the case number and everything up at the end of this video, the document. You can look it up. If you have a Pacer account, which I do, I have a Pacer account. I have a Pacer account. Yes, no, a real terrorist, you're right. Cannot have a Pacer account. I'm not a terrorist. It's all fraud. Anything you see in the computer, it's all fraud. So no, I have a Pacer account. You can pull this up on Pacer, read the information in the habeas petition, and if you're law enforcement, somebody figure out for me as to why today still he's out roaming the streets. And we've got this Texas didn't want him back conspiracy. And based on that, he's apparently supposed to be reporting into ICE down in Southern California. So anyway, scam of the day, but I have to worry about finding the kids all based on that. So interesting. Anyway, that's tonight's episode. Enjoy reading the case, and I'll see you next time on Keep the Bad Guys Away. Good night.